Welcome everyone to today's session. The session today we're going to be talking about calculation groups in Power BI. My name is Abdullah Rela Bankole. I'm a certified trainer, and I'm going to be taking you through the journey of calculation groups. Today we are solving just one specific problem, and that problem is what we call DAX duplication. I don't know if you've ever written a DAX code for Y today, year to date, YTD year to date. You've written for sales, and then you wrote another Y year to date for profits, and then you wrote another year to date DAX again for quantity. I'm sure by now you understand where I'm going to. You have three metrics: sales, profit, quantity, but you need to know those metrics across the time intelligence that you are doing, across the year to date, month to date, and even quarter to date. So that means instead of you writing, we are going to write at least three for each of the three metrics you've chosen. That is, for sales, you write Y today for sales, quarter today for sales, month today for sales. For profit, you write the same. For quantity, you write the same. That is already looking painful, isn't it? Calculation group ends that for everybody. Now, by the end of this session, everybody, we're all going to understand what calculation groups are. We're going to learn how to build one from scratch, when and when not to use them, when to use them, and when not to use them. Is that okay, everybody? So let's go into the agenda for today. I'm a man of slides. I like slides because it makes things easier for us. We know where we are at every point in time. So we're going to go with that as well. So this is our roadmap. We have 6 sections. We are going to start with the concept of calculation group, why we need it. Many people for years have never used calculation groups. They've been Power BI professional for almost 5, 6 years now. E.g., me too. It's the truth, it's the reality. But we don't touch calculation groups. Why? Because most people don't even understand why they exist. We're going to be talking about why today. Then we are going to cover some key terminologies because there are 3 or 4 terms that actually trip people up. So once you understand the most important measure, selected measure, every other thing is going to fall in place. I'm adding it in the presentation so that our mind is already seeing it already. Selected measure, selected measure, selected measure, and we are going to go into it in detail. Then we are going to try to do a demo. That is the art of this class. We're going to build a demo, a time intelligence calculation group, right, from scratch. Then we're going to learn how to format strings, precedence, and the rest. Then once we are done with all of this, I'm going to talk about some best practices that we need to have, and I'm going to answer as much question as I can. If I can't answer it, Mr. Isaiah is here. If Mr. Isaiah can't answer it, Mr. Gbenga is also on the call with us. So I hope we're all ready to start the journey of calculation groups now, everybody. Good.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's go, everybody. Let's start with what are calculation groups. So let me paint a picture for us. Let's say your model now, your Power BI model, has 5 measures. It has something like sales amount, it has profits, it has gross margin percentage, it has total orders. In fact, it even have average basket size for more complex stuff. Now, for each of these measures I've written now, your business wants you to now write or wants you to present the year-to-date report, month-to-date report, quarter-to-date report, prior year report, even a rolling 3 month report. That means you are having 5 measures in 5 calculations. What does that mean? It means automatically you need to write 25 DAX measures. And every time anybody wants to add a new measure like this, you need to add 5 more, because any new measure they are adding, they must do the Y today, the month today, the quarter today, the prior year, and rolling 3-month average. What is the solution? The solution is why we are here in class today. Calculation groups. So calculation groups fix this completely. So instead of us writing the time intelligence logic 25 times, we write it only once in a what? In a calculation group. And it automatically applies dynamically across every measure at every query time. So you need to think of calculation group as a special table in your model, because yes, it is going to come to you as a what? As a table. Usually it has only one column, and each row in the calculation group is what we call a calculation item, like year to date, YTD, or prior year, such that when a user picks Y today from a slicer, the DAX engine applies that your logic for Y today. Why am I saying Y today? Year to date, not Y today. I don't know why today is coming to my is coming to my mouth. Year today, I think everybody understand what I'm saying. Year today, YTD, right? So it applies that logic across what? Across board. So we don't need to worry ourselves so much. But what is the formal definition of a calculation group? It is basically a table in the tabular data model that contains calculation items. Each item uses a special DAX function. What is that special DAX function? Selected measure. This selected measure, it uses it as a stand-in for any active measure you have done what? You have selected. Are you following me, everybody? But before we run too far,
Yes, sir.
let me quickly say something. This does not work for a live connection mode that we use with SQL Server Analytical Service, SSAS, or AAS. It works when we are working with maybe import or direct query only. Let us put that one at the back of our mind though before we run, so that you don't waste your time. Good. I hope that is taken care of already. I repeat,
Yeah.
it does not work for what? SSAS and
SSAS.
AAS. Yes. SSAS, SQL Server Analytical Service. I think that's what it is. And AAS. Instead, when you're working with imports or direct query, that is where your calculation group is working perfectly on. I hope you are following, everybody. Good. Yes, it was introduced in using Tabular Editor in 2019. 2019 to now is almost 6 or 7 years. You can see it has been there since, but majority of us have not even heard of it, talk more of using it. Now let's go to the next place. We are trying to build foundation now, because when we are mounting those foundation on all these things, we're able to understand what we need to do. Start. Number 1, calculation group itself. So it will come to you as a special table in your data model. It is not like your regular data table that you have. You cannot add row to it manually. The rows that are going to be inside of it are the calculation items, which I'm still going to explain. Find these calculation items in the tabular editor. That makes it sweet. Or now in the model view. So in your model, it shows up as a table with one column. That column is called name column. It contains strings that we're going to see. Strings like YTD, MTD, prior year, QTD, etc., etc. Are we following? That is calculation group. One terminology.
Yes.
Second terminology is the calculation item. This calculation item, they are the rows that we have in the calculation group. It has the name that you, the user, would see in the slicer. And there is also a DAX expression. That DAX expression is what we run behind the scenes. So the DAX expression is actually where the magic is. Because instead of us referencing a specific measure like sales amount or which other one did I call earlier? Sales amount or profit or gross margin or total orders, instead of you to call on those ones, no, you will not need to call on those measures. What would you call instead? You're just going to call selected measure. Selected what? Selected measure. Because selected measure is the placeholder function. Then the third terminology that I want us to know is the selected measure itself. This is the most important concept in all these things we are talking about. The selected measure does not refer to a fixed measure. Instead, it refers to whatever measure is currently being evaluated in the visual context. That is, the visual that you are using, what measure you are actually doing what referring to or you are evaluating. This is the backbone of every calculation item. So when a visual is being, let's say, is rendering sales amount, for example, and the user has selected YTD from the slicer. So selected measure will resolve to sales amount measure. So when the next person now chooses profit, selected measure will change from sales amount to profit automatically. Just one DAX expression handling quite a lot of things. That is what? That is selected measure. So selected measure is basically just a polite way of saying, I don't know the measure you are using at the moment, but just call me and I'll be yours. Do you hear what I just said? I don't know what you want to do, but just call me, I will be yours. That is what selected measure is all about. Now, the fourth rather terminology is the precedence or precedence. This is the number you set on each calculation group. It matters when you have more than one calculation group in the model. So, because Power BI, like almost all analytical engines that we have out there, they evaluate calculation groups in order of precedence. The higher number means it will be evaluated first. So if you have a time intelligence calculation group at precedence 10 and another calculation group, let's say currency at precedence 20, that currency conversion is going to what? Is going to run first. And if you have only one calculation group, precedence does not matter. But I will say this, get into the habit of setting a what? Precedence is very important. Now, that is the key terminology. Now let's move on to the next slide. How does calculation group work? But before I go into that, can I still confirm that everybody can hear me and everybody can see my screen and we are following?
Loud and clear.
Good.
Yes.
So how does calculation group works? We are here now. How does calculation group works? How does calculation group works? So let's walk through these 4 steps. Step number 1, you have your measures in the model already. The measure can be sales amount, profit margin, and total orders. That is step number one. The measures must be there first. Do you take that? You must have created the measures first. Step number two, you then create your calculation group. You can call it time intelligence, for example. This is what we are going to be doing today. That way, the user will be able to pick YTD, MTD, PY, rolling 3M. They'll be able to pick it from a slicer that is built on that group's name column. Step number three is that the DAX will now process the visual, right? When it hits selected measure like this in the YTD item, it substitutes the selected what's it called? The selected measure, it substitutes it with the active measure. For example, sales amount. It changes it to sales amount. If, for let's say, you have clicked sales amount. Then the fourth one is the visual renders sales YTD without you ever writing a dedicated sales YTD. So if you look at it now, if you look under here, I have given a calculation group measurement. You see, we have YTD, calculate, selected measure, date YTD, date. What does this do? Year-to-date aggregation for any measure ever that was selected. Second one, month-to-date for any measure that was selected. Third one, prior year or same period last year for any measure that was selected. Last one, trailing 3-month window. You can see it, the rolling 3-month window. That's 3 months this thing. So these are different examples. We're still going to go into how to do all this. And that is where we are going to go into now. Building your first calculation group. Now the issue is this. Let me tell you something now. Before now, we usually use Tabular Editor. That is another application you would all need to go and download. Tabular Editor 2 to be precise. It is free to use. So if you don't have it, go and download it. There was a time in this boot camp, I don't think we later did it, but we, even without us doing it, we discussed about it on our group, Data Job Naija, that we have some external tools that we need to be using. One of them is the Tabular Editor, which we have now. Are you following? So download the Tabular Editor. We are going to be using it for this class, but I have already downloaded it, so I'm also going to be using it. So these are the things that we are going to be using. Opening our Tabular Editor, creating a new calculation group, adding calculation items, writing this, and doing all this. So I'm going to be doing all this what? We're going to be doing all of it together. We're going to be doing all of it what? All of it together. Now, for the purpose of this class, I have already tried to create a Power BI this thing. So I'm going to start all over again, and we are going to all do it together. So I'm going to open up my Power BI now. Let me first close all the other apps that I have opened so that we don't the memory don't get hooked like it usually does once in a while. So I'm going to open Power BI first. That's where I'm starting from. Power BI. So my Power BI is being opened at the moment, and I'm just going to open a blank report. Remember, I told you one thing. I said calculation group only works for what? Imports. Imports.
Mr. Bankole, are you showing your Power BI environment?
No, I just dragged it to the screen now. Can you see it now?
Yes, it's up now.
Good. I was not sharing it before.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to get data from an Excel workbook I've created before now. So let's bring it together. So here we have customers, date, products, and sales. So I'll just go to transform data, transform the data. I'll bring this here. Then from here, let's see. I think everything is okay. No issues anywhere. Products, all good. Customers, all good. Dates. Okay, this is dates. Yeah, quarter. Okay, yes, all good here. Let me quickly say this. For everybody that's going to be doing anything calculation group and the rest. In fact, like I do tell my own students, if your fact table has dates inside of it, the major thing that will save you from headache is to have a dedicated standalone date or calendar table. I repeat, if your fact table, for example, sales now, you can see it has dates. Sometimes you can even have more than one date column. One thing that will save you a lot of headache is for you to have a dedicated date table. In fact, if you don't even understand anything the sense is money, just know that wherever you have date somewhere in your this thing, there must be a dedicated date table. That's that one. So now we have all this now. All of it, they're all done now. So let's close and apply. And there we are good. So let's just 3 seconds and let it load. So what am I doing? Um open up this my this thing now. So I have my Power BI now. Now remember, I have my tables, my data here: customers, dates, product, sales. Let's go to the table view. In the table view, I have my customer, I have my date, I have my product, and I have my sales. Right? Now let's go to the model view.
Mr. Bankole,
Yes, you can't see my screen.
it's static here.
Okay. What is it showing for you
It's
at the
just
moment?
showing a blank. Add your data reports, and it's like it's just showing working on it. So it's just static.
Any other person? Is that the same for everybody?
Yeah, it's showing that it's loading your data. Yes.
What do you say, promise? Promise, what did you say?
So I said same here, add data to you. Working on it is what's on the script. Sir.
Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen and start sharing everything again. Teams, problem, 5 and 6, all the time. You know the year word. Yes, so I've shared my screen. I just shared my screen. Can somebody tell me what they can see on my screen?
It's everything is blank, dark. It's not here.
AB.
Wahala. Wahala.
It's up now. I think there's a lag.
Okay, it's up now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's move my people. Now, the data set, let me just quickly tell you about it, is having 4 columns, 4 tables. We have the date, we have the product that has our product has like 15 products inside it. You can see 15 rows. across 3 different categories and subcategories. Our customers is around 1,000, about 100 customers in Nigeria across different countries or cities. I think 10 of them. Are you following? Then we have the transactions that occur in the sales table here. So now we have opened our Power BI, we've done all the things that we need to do. So let's go to the model view. Obviously, we know that there will be some form of relationship already. Now, one thing that makes calculation group work as well is for you to make sure you choose your um, um, date table. You mark it as a date table. This is what I'm about to do. This date, you need to mark it as a date table. Before, they usually be marked as date table here, but I think it's already inside the calendar option. Then you just click mark as date table. So when you click mark as date table, you can see what it's saying here. These settings may be required for certain types of semantic model. Marking it is discouraged, but because of what you want to do, it is quite important that you mark it as a date table. So you click it, then you choose your date column, mark as date column, date, validated successfully, save. So that way, this date table, your date table is already done as a what? Is picked as a date table. This date is the most important date across board. Are we following everybody? Are we following?
Yeah, we are following, but there's a lag, sha, but continue.
Okay, good.
Continue.
Now we have done that already. So what is the next thing for us to do? Let us now create our measures. So I'm going to put the measures right inside the sales data set. I don't have this thing. Let's just do new measure. So I'm going to create like 6 measures. I'll start with sales amount measure. So sales amount measure is going to be what? The total number of the sales amount, isn't it? So I can say sum, right? Sum of what? Sum of sales. Which sales? Which column is sales? Sales amount. Power BI is simple. That is easy to write. Enter. We have that. Also, let's pick another one. Let's say total cost of goods sold, isn't it? So new measure, total COGS, What do we have as that? We can just say sum as well. Sum of sales, what? COGS, close bracket, enter. We are good with that. The profit margin, right? Or gross profit. What is the gross profit calculation? These are things that you need to know on a normal day, everybody. You need to know all these formulas in your mind. You might not necessarily know them in depth, but you need to know what they mean, and you know them in your mind. Oh, gross profit means that what? I am deducting the total sales amount from the total cost of goods sold. Simple. So that will ease when I'm writing the DAX now. Sales amount minus total cost of goods sold. Simple as that. Then what other thing can we write? We can also add I said gross profit, then gross margin. That one is in percentage. So we have gross margin percentage. What do we have in this one? We use the divide. What is the numerator? We divide the gross profit. You divide it by what? By the total amount of sales, which is sales amount in this case now. I hope by now nobody should say that the DAX I'm writing is complex. So this is one of the most simplest form of DAX that we can write. Yes or no, everybody? There's nothing hard in all these DAX I've been writing since, or is there? Eniola, Abiola, Oluwasegun, Judith, Esther, Promise. Good. Now these ones are still simple. Now let's go. So I've written gross margin percentage. Then yes, total orders is very important. We need to have total orders. Total orders. So what is total orders? We just want to count. That is number of orders. So we're counting 1, 2, 3. So what do we use? We don't use count because what we want to count is sales. So best thing to use when you're counting is what? Count rows. So you're counting the number of rows in that table. And you can just count sales. Count rows. And you can see count rows work with table. You can see table here as the aggregator. And that's how I'm picking sales. That's that one. Then what else can we do? We can also count average order. So we can say AVG order sales or order value, average order value. So we can say divide your sales amount by what? By your total orders. That gives you the average. As simple as that. So we have done what? We have created our what's it called now? We have created our measures. Remember, I said you need to first make your date, the date mark as date table. When I mark it as date table, you can see now there's a date here. Do you see that there's a date here now? It has marked that date as the date table. It's very, very important for us to perform this magic we're about to perform. Then you need to do what? You need to have created all the measures that you need. That is the second thing. So let's go back to the PowerPoint slide. Let's quickly check it. Yeah. Now, we've done all that. Cannot play. Okay. Hello, can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you, but there's a no.
There's
I
background
can hear
noise.
you, but there's a noise. Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
to
I
get
can
to
hear you.
this one. Sorry. Okay, so like I was saying, now we have done the basic things that we need to do in Power BI. One last thing before I forget, let's go to the model view. We need to connect our, make sure that our connections are done properly. Product is connected to sales, one to many, isn't it? Or yes, one to many. Then customer to sales is also one to many. You can see it. Now, the remain this date is left hanging. We need to connect dates to sales. So what do we connect dates to sales? Dates to sales is also one to many. So we just pick the dates and other dates. We connect them together. You can see it has taken it automatically one to many. Single, yes, no issue. Just say save. We are good. Now we are okay. We can bring this ones like this. So this is our fact table. Let us have our star topology like Mr. Benga and Mr. Isaiah has been teaching us all this while. So now we have all this. We are now ready for us to now build our what? Our calculation group. Now, let's proceed, everybody. The next thing that we now need is to open up Tabular Editor. I want to do this in Tabular Editor. We can do it here, but let's work with Tabular Editor. It makes life easier for everybody. So I'll go to my computer now and just type in Tabular Editor. Or if, in fact, don't let me even open Tabular Editor from here. I can just go to external tools here Tabular editor is sitting here. This is the best way to do it. Just click tabular editor like this, and let's see what will happen. It would automatically open for you tabular editor connected to your what? To your dashboard. It will connect to it immediately. To your report rather, to your model. Now if you click on tables now, you will see all the tables are there. Do you see that your date is having this date icon now? For you to know that this is your date table, it has marked it properly as a date table. That is why it is very, very important that you choose that date as date table. Most people don't usually add this in their this thing, and it causes issues. So now we have this. Now in this tabular editor, what do we need to do? We have opened it up. Our model view is opened already. So how do I create a new calculation group? For me to do that, I go to tables, right? I right click on tables. When I right click on tables, what do I see? I see two options: import tables or create new tables. So I'm going to go to create new tables, and I'm going to see three options there: create new table, create new calculation table, create new calculation group. What is it that I want to do, everybody? I want to create a new calculation group.
Calculation group.
So I'm going to click calculation group. It will not come out like this. It will ask you. If you see it's still blue, it's telling you it is editable. Give it a name. What name will I give it? Okay, I want to name it Time Intelligence. And I'll press enter. Ticket. Once I press enter, if I click on this arrow here, automatically I would see that a new column was created for me in that calculation group. And what is that thing? Name. Remember I told you that there will be name there, isn't it? And there will be another one called the calculation item. That name is where you are going to see all your calculation items. Now let us now start adding our calculation items that we have noted. So I will go to calculation item. I will go to time intelligence rather, or anywhere, right click on it. If I can just do it on calculated item and click new calculated item. You can see that. Then what is the name of this one? Let us name it, say, YTD. Now that is the name of this item, YTD. Now on this side we have the expression side, which is where we are going to be typing our DAX. Just like we have the DAX in the normal Power BI, this expression side is where you type it in. So how do I type it in? For YTD, you just use calculate. See everybody, let me just tell you one simple thing. You don't need to memorize this. It is a standard anywhere, everywhere. If you do everything I've told you to do and you do it properly, you don't need to memorize. You can just copy and paste. Don't be copy and be pasting it in all of your what's it called? All of your reports. What is the thing that will change? Selected measure is just going to be changing everything for you, and you are good. Let me write it. So calculate, tab, selected measure, then just open brackets, close brackets. We all know what selected measure is doing now. It will pick any of these measures that we have here: average, gross, gross profit, comma, then a new this thing, DAX, a DAX time intelligence function. Since this is YTD, we have a DAX time intelligence function called date YTD. Are you following? Date YTD. This is only possible if if and only if you have marked your date table as a date table. If you have marked that date table as this is a date table, that is when this date YTD will work properly. I will not say more than that. I've said it already. That is never, there's nothing to say more than that. So what is the date YTD? Date, then date. Then we close this. Now you can see I'm writing a capital letter, but this thing is a small letter. That means I need to go back. Date, date, close it, close your brackets. Now this bracket is for this one. This other calculate has another bracket. So close the brackets. Once you are done, just do what? Control S. There are still some other things, so but I'm not explaining them now. I will just quickly, let's first learn how to even first create the calculated table. I have calculation group. I have the calculated item. I have created what is this one now? YTD. I will just copy this thing now. Simple, JJ. Don't disturb yourself. I'll copy. New calculation item. MTD. Enter. Boom. Now that one was YTD. This one now is MTD. Control S. Save. Another calculation item. Let's say prior year. PY. Abi? What is that one? So instead of you using date MTD now, you are going to use what? Same period last year. Same period last year for that one. So, and then what do you do? Control S to save it. Now,
Hello, Mr. Bankole.
Yes, you can see my screen.
No, not that. Before you move on, I just want to have.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, ask her.
Please, can you please now in the formula you use, you have selected measure.
Yes.
So please, can you explain that? What does that selected measure do?
Okay, let me go back to the slide. 1 minute. To the slide. I explained it in this where is it? Here. Can you see my slide?
Yes, I can see it.
Selected measure is a placeholder. Is a what?
Okay,
Is a placeholder. So remember that when we are creating this what was it called? This calculation. Remember that when we first created our Power BI, we had these 6 measures that we have created. Are you following? Now,
yes.
Selected measure is now that any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any of them can be in this selected measure place. Depending on what you want to do. If what you want to see now is I want to see the gross margin percentage same period last year. Once you click on it like this, it will replace selected measure with gross margin percentage.
That measure.
Yes.
Okay.
The measure that is selected at the moment. There's you see not something similar to what we do in parameter. Let me see, is it similar to parameter?
Right. It's clear now.
Okay, it's clear. Okay, no problem. So now we have this. Now remember in my slide, there's a place I listed what we are going to be doing. So we have created this. We have written the selected measure expressions. The next is for us to set the ordinal values. Now the ordinal controls the way we sort our what? Our items is being sort. The slicers. Without it, it will just arrange it alphabetically. How all this MTD, YTD, PY, how it is going to show. If you don't give it an ordinal number, it will just arrange it how it's like. So how do you do the ordinal? We have YTD here. YTD, I want YTD to come first, because usually what we want is year to date first. So this is ordinal. In this place you can see ordinal, you can see it is -1, change it to 1, enter. Then we have MTD, change MTD to 2. Then we have PY, change PY to 3. Now let's see it again. YTD is 1, MTD is 2. This thing can be, I don't know. YTD is okay. 0, 1, 0, 1, 2 is okay like this too. 0, 1, 2 is okay, no problem. Since these are the 3 that we have. Now we have created our calculated items. Now what do I then do? All I need to do is to just come back here, Ctrl S to save it, and once it has saved, your Power BI, something will be waiting for you in your Power BI. Do you see this place? It says one or more calculation groups need to be manually refreshed. One or more calculation group need to be manually refreshed. In fact, before that, remember I told you that you can now create Power BI, you can now create calculation group in Power BI. See, calculation group is having 1 here. Before it was 0. But let us refresh first and let's see what happens. Refresh now. Now I have refreshed. Now let's go to calculation group here. Can you see time intelligence? If I click on the time intelligence, I have name, but I have calculation item. How many? 3. YTD, MTD, previous year. Now let me go to my table view. I can see there's time intelligence up. Now I have YTD, MTD, previous year. That is how you create calculation group. Now the point of truth is here. Let us now make this, build a visual out of what we have talked about since morning. I'm going to click on the slicer visual, which is where we usually use calculation group. I'll just drag the time intelligence name into the slicer. I'll just click like this. It shows in the slicer. Let me just reduce it a bit, and it's just here. Then now let's pick a card visual. Now let me quickly say something too. Before I forget, I just remembered. Remember when we are talking about DAX, we have my mind is saying intrinsic, but what I want to say is not intrinsic. I know what I want to say is not intrinsic. What do we call that type of DAX? Implicit. Implicit and explicit measures. Implicit and explicit measures. Does anybody remember what that is? Implicit and explicit measure. Does anybody remember what that is? Nobody. If I click sales amount, because I've remember that if I click sales amount on a card visual, I'm supposed to have a total sales amount. Yes or no, everybody? If I don't, not this sales amount that is calculation, no, this sales amount that is from the table. If I click on it, it will show me total sales amount. It will sum it up for me. Yes or no before? That one is implicit. Do you see that when I click on it now, it is not much, it is just showing, it is not trying, it cannot calculate. Let me choose card. And let me say no, I want it to value. When I take it to value, it's not going. See. Why? Because I am now in this model now is having calculation group. Implicit does not work for calculation group. Don't ask me why you. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Gbenga can tell us later. But me, I don't know. But it will not work. Just have that one at the back of your mind. So what is that telling you? It's telling you that you need to write your measures yourself. In fact, even training class that we do tell you people, write your DAX yourself. Write it out. Let it be spelled out. Then you use your DAX all the time. It saves you a lot of energy. So now let's build this slicer. So let's pick a matrix table. Now in the matrix table, we are going to put sales amount in value. Let's say sales amount. Click this one now. So we have sales amount in value, right? So let's see what happens when I click on YTD. Do you see what happened? It gives me a value. Let me click on MTD. 0. So probably maybe because we are in month of May or this month, there is no current what's it called? There is no current this thing for it. We don't have any value for it. But let's pick previous year. You can see. So previous year be this time this year and this time last year. What is the what? What is the difference? We have year to date from the beginning of the year up to now. This is it. We are just starting May. Probably I don't have anything about May in my report or something like that. That's why this is empty. Now, I did not rewrite anything. In fact, do you know what? Let's make it sweet. Watch this. I will add average. Inside this same one, I will add average. Inside this same one, I will have gross margin. I will add gross profit. Total cost of goods. So don't be watching, everybody. Total orders now. Now, I want to know what we've done year to date. Okay, year to date, ticket. This year, we've sold $460,000. Average value is 648. Our profit is 204,000. Total cost of goods sold is 256,000. And total orders, we had 710 orders. Do you see how that is? I did not need to create another YTD for sales amount different, amount average value different, gross profit different, total cost of goods sold different, total orders YTD different, total orders MTD different, previous year MTD. Let me click PY, previous year. Did you see it changed? Do you see? MTD, nothing. That is how calculation group works. That is how calculation group works. Mr. Bankole, is this where you're going to stop? No! I will be a bad person to you if I don't tell you some other things as we proceed. So what is that other thing? I will go back to the slide. We have done this demo. We have built our first calculation group. Everybody is happy now. But there are some other things that can give you headache or give you coconut head in the future. Let's start. That will take us to what we call dynamic format strings. So every calculation group has its own format string. Are you following? Your profit margin measure is formatted as a percentage. For example, 32%. But when you apply YTD calculation item, the result is showing you as decimal. So let me do something. Let's see. I don't even think I remember to put this as percentage. I'm not sure. Let me add it here. You can see it's showing as 0.45. Let me say is in fact. So I don't think when we created the DAX, I don't think we do this back to percentage. Good. So let's see. Now we have 45% here. But that's because of what I just did. But that is not how I'm supposed to do it. The result was still going to show for the 0.45. There is a fix that we usually use to it. And that fix is going to be done back inside our what? Inside our tabular editor. In fact, that one, we usually use another function for that. That function is this one, selected measure format strings, which returns the original format string of the measure that is being evaluated. Now, did you know what happened in this place again, Mr. Isaiah? What happened here is that when I choose YTD, in the YTD code that we add, it replaced selected amount and selected measure with sales amount in this case, with average order value in this case, with gross profit in this case, with total cost of goods sold in this case, with total order in this case, with gross margin in this case. That selected measure that we are talking about. Do you understand now?
Yeah.
Good. So now, selected measure format string, that one returns the format string of whatever measure is currently active. You use this as your default so that each measure keeps its own format. Then we have the second one there is selected measure. Then you put in bracket the measure name. That one returns true if the active measure is the one you name. Are you following? You will see it in action. Oh, don't worry. Now, precedence. There's a note that I note there. If you have two calculation groups, maybe you have one for time intelligence like we have now, or for currency conversion, set the precedence integer carefully because the higher numbers will be evaluated first. So make sure you know what it is that you are doing. Now, what are the common practices, the best practices for calculated column? One, always make sure you have a proper date table that is marked as date table. Calculation group use standard time intelligence DAX and it relies on it so that it will be able to do date YTD, date MTD, and the rest. All of which requires a continuous marked date table. Also, you need to name your calculation item clearly. Don't use Clark 1. Use YTD or year to date as different strings. So you standardize it across all your models. Also, you need to set your ordinal values always so that your alphabetical, because if you don't do it, it will arrange it for you alphabetically. And that might not be what you want to do. Your company will always want to see YTD first before MTD, before previous year. Be professional. That is how we have this training that we are doing for all of us. Let's continue. Also, one thing that I like to say, which I will still add, is to add a current, or we call it no selection item. That one just returns selected measure. This allows the user to be able to reset without deselecting from the slicer. Are you following? I will still do it though. Then you test with non-additive measures. Measures like profit margin, average price, they do not actually make sense when we wrap them inside date YTD. Are you following? They are ratios. They are non-additive. So that is selected measure. We use it to exclude them. Then what is the last thing that I did not note here that I just remember now? Document your calculation group. Oh. Your future self will thank you. One thing that is affecting majority of the people now is documentation. And me, I will tell you, document your calculation group. Oh, I thought you had to use AI to do documentation last time I was here. Yes, Your future self will thank your present self. What are the common errors or common gotchas, like I write here? Implicit function will not work. If you drag a column directly onto your visual without creating an explicit measure, calculation group will ignore it. 1. 2. Live connection is not going to work. So if your data set is connected to a published semantic model using live connection, you cannot add calculation group in the desktop report layer. 3. A measure can only receive one calculation item from each group per query. You cannot stack 2 items from the same group. You want to stack date YTD and MTD together. You can't. Also, nested or chained calculation items, that is, where we have one calculation item calling another item. They work, but they are confusing. So, what will I say as a tutor to you? Avoid using nested or chained calculation item unless you are a pro, unless you know exactly what it is that you are doing. Finally, do not forget precedence, because forgetting precedence when you add a second group is the most common mistake ever. Set the precedent immediately you are creating each of the group. Those are the common gotchas and the best practices. Now, Mr. Bankole, this calculation group sef, where do we even used to use it? Okay, I got you. I have brought it now. These are the top use cases for calculation groups. The first is time intelligence. That is the most common use case, and that is what we built today. Year to date, month to date, quarter to date, MAT, rolling end, prior year-on-year growth. You can apply it to every measure in one group. We have 5 more. Currency conversion. Currency conversion converts all the currency measures dynamically based on a slicer. USD, euros, naira, yen, rupees, real, dinar, all of them, peso, all of them. You have what the conversions are, and as you're just clicking it, it is converting it automatically. So one group with a DAX expression that multiplies your selected measure by an exchange rate. That's the engine. So every currency measure responds without you having an extra measure. Also, you want to display units. You want something for thousands, millions, billions. You can let the user choose. Oh, they want to see this thing in thousands. They want to see this thing in millions. They want to see this thing in billions. So the user can toggle the scale on any number in the report. No need for manual formatting. They don't need you again when you have done all the job you are supposed to do. This is what separates you from a junior person to a senior person. Also, scenario planning. You want to toggle between actual, budget, forecast, your variance. All of them can all be calculation items. They are much more cleaner than than us creating 4 separate measure groups. And it makes your report user interface easy when you are doing dashboards. Another one is common one, statistical aggregation. You want to do average or median, mean, standard deviation, max. You write everything once and it applies everywhere. You want to know the average sales, average order, average average this, average that. Just write it once and it does the work for you. Then the relative period comparison, the current versus the previous period. It does it automatically without you hard coding any date logic into every measure that you have. So these are the what? These are the top use cases. Use this to spark ideas in you. So, what is the last thing I'm going to talk about? Nothing. Question and answers. But before I go to question and answer, right, I would send something because this can be confusing for us, and I don't want my own students to be confused. So I have prepared a demo, like a cheat, cheat sheet, cheat sheet for everybody. So I'm going to be sharing it with Mr. Isaiah and the data sets we use so that you can also practice on your own. Is that understood? Once we do it, you practice as much as possible. All these things, I have done them already. So you can easily just go and copy. Like I told you, it's simple. Just copy and paste it. If you do the right thing, you don't have any headache. Do you understand? So I will send it to Mr. Isaiah. We can work on it as well. But let me quickly update something in the tabular editor on the call while we are all still here. Now, I did YTD, NTD, PY, right? So let us add QTD. So what do we call that one? So this one is going to be what? QTD, and I've done power area. Then the last one I said I would do is let me delete it. QTD, enter, paste, QTD, enter. Now I want a new one. Current. I said I want to create current too. Current. That current, that one I told you does what? Allows the user to reset without deselecting the slicer. So what is current? So in current, what you're just going to have there is just going to be selected measure. Selected measure like this. And that's all. Selected measure. And that's what you put there. So this selected measure current is going to be the baseline. Are you following? It's going to be the what? The baseline. So this one is ordinal. It's not that will come first because that's what you want it to be. So I'm going to change the ordinal of this one from this to 0, current to be 0. Then we are going to have so if current is 0, then your YTD is going to be 1, MTD is 2, PY is 3, QTD is 4. Good. Or PY can be 4, then QTD, no, QTD should be 3, then PY should be 4. Perfect, like that. Because we want to see the current without anything, the year, the month, the quarter, then the previous year, what has happened previously. Now, that is what we do to that. The next is that string, the former string expression I told you. How do we now do it? We'll go to YTD first. You see this place where we have property. You can see that it is expression that is here. If you click on it, you will see former string expression. So what are you going to put there? You are going to put that measure I told you about. Select what? Selected measure format string. That's all. That's the only thing right there. Control A, Control C, copy it, enter. Okay, save. Control S, I save everything. Do the same for all of them. MTD2. Why the Power BI going away from the background? Do the same thing for MTD2. Change expression to format string. Put that in there. Run it, save it. Go to QTD2. Change expression to format string. Put it. Run. PY. All of them. So you do it for YTD, MTD, QTD, and previous year. Then you do what? You save it. Now once you are done, then you control save everything. Now all this is saved. Now let's go back to our Power BI. In the Power BI, it should be telling us, say, one or more calculation group need to be manually refreshed. Oh yeah, refresh now. Now that I have refreshed it, you can all see, what do we now have, everybody? We can all see that what? We have our current now. So whether you click or not click, current is still the same current. You get? So you have YTD, but you can click current, it takes you back to the current standing. Everything all together.
Studying
Eh?
Bankole, the lag is getting worse, sha.
You can't hear me at all?
No, we can hear you, but the lag.
Hey,
Continue.
sorry.
That's why I said you should. Thank God you recorded. So
Yes, sir.
don't
So
worry.
let's go.
Continue.
Let's go. Let's go. So now we have this. Now we have all this now, right? You can see it. So once you are done, you make sure you refresh. So once you refresh, like you can see, I refreshed earlier. So you can see our everything is now your name and everything is there. So that is how we actually do what? That is how we build our what's it called? That is how we build um our date, our time intelligence, calculation table. So I'm going to save this now. I'm going to save my Power BI file. So I'll call it calculation group class. And this will be the end of my class. So thank you very much, everybody. I believe I've been able to simplify as much as possible calculation groups, and I did not overcomplicate it again. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming, for staying tuned. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's any question that you want to ask. Now is the time for us to ask the question. We're in the question and answer session now. So I don't know if anybody have any question. Please, Mr. Isaiah, I promised to send
I'm here.
you something. So I'm going to do the same way I did the last time. I'm going to do it the same way. I'll put
Okay.
everything in that folder, in a folder, and I'll send it to you. Everything is there. All
Please,
the what? What do you say?
no, everyone, kindly drop your email address. Just drop it on this chat.
So time intelligence
So I'll forward it to
calculation,
you.
time intelligence calculation item, formatting strings. You know, there are some strings sometimes you want to show, let's say, for growth percentage item, you want to show ratio, you want to do all this expression. The calculation group, I will show you, I will send that one as well. There's another one for the display, that one I talked about earlier, for thousand, millions, billions. I will send that one as well. So I'll do it and I'll send everything to you so that we have all this thing handy. In the past, we usually have that date, that other date, this thing handy too. All these things too, you can have it handy, because the reality is you can replicate all these things. Do you get? You can be replicating them. It's the same code over and over again. Just make sure that the important what's it called, the important column or table you need to have in that table is done properly, and you make sure that your not just table, your modeling is also done properly. Once you have all those things, every other thing will be easier for you. And calculation group also makes your dashboard neat. That's one thing. It makes your dashboard neat because imagine this as a slicer. This guy here, this guy, they'll all be arranged up as slicers, designed properly. And whenever they are clicking on it, it will be taking them to showing them different metrics. And you'll be wondering what is happening underneath. What is the person did plenty magic? No, he did not do anything, he just created calculation group. Have we talked about parameters in this cohort, Mr. Isaiah?
We've not so.
We've not. Is it part of what you want to teach? I think we did it last year, I'm not sure, but I don't know.
Is it query parameter, right?
Yes, query parameter, the one that is where is it even itself? Can't remember where it is.
In Power Query.
In Power Query, yes. In Power Query, yes. In Power Query.
I don't think it's
I
part
don't know.
of.
There's one now. This is new parameter. There's parameter as well. That's something people used to. Okay, no problem. No issues. Okay.
Yeah, but we can look into it. Like, if there's a need for us to revisit it and delve into more complex stuff, we can look into it.
Okay, no problem. Just all
Okay.
these are things that we can actually learn as well. Not me though. Everybody can learn it. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Benga. I'm sorry, Mr. Isaiah, and everybody for staying tuned. So, what are the key takeaways from this cohort or from this class? Is that your calculation group eliminates you writing excessive DAX measures, duplicating plenty things. You have things you used to be able to write 25 codes. You are just writing 5 and you are happy. You write your time intelligence once and you apply it everywhere. Also, selected measure is the engine. Understand it deeply. Also, make sure you format your strings and your precedence. They are your tools for control, especially when you have multiple groups. And the last but not the least, always start with time intelligence. It gives you the highest ROI use case for Power BI model. I remain my humble self, Abdullah Bankole. Follow me everywhere on social media platform, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere. I'm there. My name still remain myself. Thank you very much for having me, and hopefully we can have another class probably later. Thank you very much, and I hope you all enjoyed today's class. Thank you very much, and do have a wonderful month ahead, night, and week. Bye bye for now. Over to you, Mr. Isaiah, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pankole, for your time once again. I'm sure we learn one or two things. I also noticed that we have a kind of a lag. Mr. Pankole, you can stop recording from your end.
Okay.
We have a lag.